Hannytime. Hannytime. A daily look at sports from our resident historian. Your sports break during your lunch break. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. Here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Hannytime 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hanagriff, Mario Jerez, Jacob Beck here with you. Just a couple of days away from the NFL draft. This is one of my favorite weeks of the year. I love the puzzle that is roster building. I love the combination of 32 teams and the strategies that they use to employ that. The things that we spend the rest of the year talking about how football teams play, a lot of it is dictated by how they handle the NFL draft. So we're going to be NFL draft heavy probably the rest of the week. In 15 minutes, Ed Daniels from WGNO, the longtime sports director down in New Orleans, is going to be with us. We'll get his thoughts on the Saints. Dwayne Colucci from out in Vegas will be with us at the bottom of the hour. NFL draft is a case of heartburn for Las Vegas. They do not like the idea of this event having taken off from a gambling standpoint at all. Now, it's their fault, okay? They put it out there. And what you have is a bunch of sharp bettors and inside info guys that have gotten to them a little bit more than Vegas likes to be gotten, if you will. So, of course, we're right into that. Today's podcast is going to be all about how to bet the NFL draft today. So if you want to check that out a little bit later on, it'll be posted at 1045ESPN.com. Since we left you, I don't know if you did you guys hear about this? There was a trade. The Jets got a quarterback. It made a few of the national shows. I mean, it got a little bit of publicity. Not since Brett Favre was on a tractor in Mississippi as a Packers quarterback moving had quite so much natural interest. Of course, Aaron Rodgers going from the Packers to the Jets. I'm not going to belabor the point too much because I know the national shows have hammered it. But I do want to, again, revisit the quarterback market and how this, lined up for the Saints, because this is another option when you were sitting there at the end of the season. Were the Saints ever going to go after Aaron Rodgers? No. Doesn't make sense for them. But when we look at what it costs, and we look at what the other quarterback options would cost, and what's considered left on the market at this point would cost, again, I go back to the whole thing, and I was in favor of the Derek Carr signing. I know not everybody was. Cost, risk, reward, you have to weigh all of these things. So let's look at, first of all, let's say that for a second that the Saints would have been in the Aaron Rodgers market. The Packers were going to move him. They've had enough of his act, and they have a replacement that they have been grooming for 3 years to come in and take over. So Rodgers was moving. If they couldn't trade him, he was going to retire probably. That was going to happen. So let's just say the Saints had gone in there and wanted that. The first-round pick swap would not have been comparable because the Packers picked 14 spots in front of the Saints, so that's off the board. The late-round pick swap is largely inconsequential. What you're talking about really is a second-round pick this year and a likely first-round pick next year. This is the part of the deal I really don't like for the Jets, is that they have to pay 24 prices based on what he does in 23. If I were the Jets, I'd rather pay the 24 compensation based on what he does in 24. But of course, the draft is before the season, so that makes it kind of difficult. If Aaron Rodgers plays 65% of the snaps this year for the New York Jets, then goes into his dark retreat again, comes out and says, I'm done playing football, the Jets owe a 24 first-round pick to the Packers for a guy who won't be playing for them. Do I think that's likely? No. But it's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, who knows what goes on in his mind when he's in the darkness. If you wanted him, that was what it cost. Essentially a 2 and a 1 and a little bit of a sweetener for maybe 1 year. Is Aaron Rodgers still that good? Well, he was the MVP in 2020. He was the MVP in 2021. But in 2022, you know what quarterback his stats were most comparable to? Mario, you want to take a shot at this?
Let's go. Nah, Geno Smith had too good of a season.
Yeah, way too good of a season.
Andy Dalton.
No. Actually, Andy Dalton statistically had a better season last year than Aaron Rodgers. If you're going by quarterback rating, okay? Not just the raw numbers, but the quarterback rating. Andy Dalton had a higher quarterback rating than Aaron Rodgers did. If you're going by just quarterback rating, he had a most comparable season to Russell Wilson, who not too many people thought had a very good year last year. Actually, by that standard, he had a very similar year to what Derek Carr had, except Derek Carr didn't cost you a first and second round pick. Now, in no way am I telling you that Derek Carr's career stands up to Aaron Rodgers, but he is 8 years younger, and they're coming off of statistically very similar years. The quarterback rating is within just a few points of each other. Now, Rodgers played with a broken thumb for a lot of last year, and I want to be fair about that. But the question is, is everything still there for Rodgers? Physically, mentally, organizationally, is he going to be happy? And is he going to be able to perform at the level that they're paying for him? I know Garrett Wilson is happy. Garrett Wilson was Offensive Rookie of the Year with that collection of, what's a nice word for bad quarterbacks? Let me just call them bad quarterbacks and move on from there. But if you didn't go in that direction, you could have gone in the Lamar Jackson direction. He's still available. The Jets could have gone after him. I could even make a strong argument that the Jets should have gone after him. Because 2 years from now, I'm certain that Lamar Jackson is going to still be playing in the NFL, and I'm not certain that Aaron Rodgers is. I understand there are availability problems with Lamar Jackson, but I would have taken a long look, and he would have been more expensive, obviously. But I could have made a case that I would have gone, if I'm going to pay the big price as the Jets are, I would have gone for Lamar. But nobody else wants Lamar either, because Lamar is not going to has for the moment decided he is not going to sign a contract unless it is 100% guaranteed, because that's what Deshaun Watson got. Now, forget about what Jalen Hurts got, which wasn't fully guaranteed, or Daniel Jones got, which wasn't fully guaranteed, or Geno Smith, or Derek Carr, or any of the other quarterbacks that signed in the last, 2 years. Never mind that when Joe Burrow signs, it's not going to be 100% guaranteed. He still plays for the Bengals. And when Justin Herbert signs, it's not going to be 100% guaranteed. He still plays for the Chargers. There's a little-known rule in the NFL, a little known among fans. The owners and GMs know it by rote, which is you have to have a certain amount of money in escrow that will cover the contract, meaning that if Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert get a contract for $400 million total, which is not off the table, then the team has to have a certain amount of that money in cash in escrow to make sure that they can pay it. It's a bit of an antiquated rule because none of these owners are going broke, but it's still in place to keep the NFL from defaulting on any contracts, meaning that the owners of the Bengals and the Chargers, who are not as rich as the owners of the Browns by any stretch, or the Rams, they don't have that amount of cash sitting around. So I promise you, those contracts aren't going to be 100% guaranteed. So Lamar's off the table. Who else you got? If you wanted to, you could go back to the 21 draft 24 months ago. You know what Zach Wilson would cost you right now if you call the Jets? You call the Jets and offer them a fourth-round pick. They would hand-deliver Zach Wilson to you. They'd give him a limo Uber, send him to your facility. What about the Niners and Trey Lance? Well, they're saying they don't want to trade him. You believe that? I don't. Cost a little bit more than Wilson because he's not the screw-up that Wilson is off the field. But if you call the Niners and said, we'll give you a number 2 pick for Trey Lance, you could have Trey Lance. Those were the two of the top 3 picks of the 21 draft. We're not talking about 5 years ago. We're talking about 2 years ago. Would you like to get on the Carson Wentz bandwagon? He's still available. You can sign Teddy Bridgewater if you want it. I keep going back to this. We don't like Derek Carr. Give me your options. These are your options. Who else moved up with the trade yesterday? Our old friend Danny Etling is now the number 2 quarterback in Green Bay. There's only 2 quarterbacks on the roster, him and Jordan Love. Jordan Love's a starter, I would assume. Watch Green Bay. Watch Green Bay pick a wide receiver or a tight end in the first round just to piss Aaron Rodgers off one more time before they're finished, and then take a quarterback like in maybe the third round or something like that. Are the Jets going to win the Super Bowl? I don't think so, but what does it matter what I think? Vegas doesn't think so. They're a lot smarter about this than I am. The Jets, even with Aaron Rodgers, are still the fourth choice in the AFC. The Chiefs are the favorite at plus 600. The Bills are the second choice at plus 800. The Bengals are the third choice at either plus 900 or plus 1,000, depending on where you're shopping. The Jets are plus 1,400. This is way higher than they were yesterday, obviously. And one more thing. Do you think this is a deal where the Jets are a desperate franchise? I mean, seriously. The last time they had a quarterback that was near the top of the league in statistically was Ken O'Brien. You're going back 30 years. But Bill Barnwell had a great stat today on ESPN.com. In 1972, 50 years ago, Joe Namath got votes for the MVP. He didn't win it that year, but he got votes. The Jets haven't had anybody get an MVP vote since 1972. 50 years. Not one. Forget about winning the award. They haven't had a player get a vote in 5 decades. That's a long time. There's only one other team that hasn't had anybody get votes in that long a period of time. And that's actually with an asterisk, the Jacksonville Jaguars. But they weren't born until 1995, okay? In other words, the Jets, in 50 years, have never been anywhere close to having the best player in the league. Do I think Aaron Rodgers can win another MVP at 39? Probably not. But he's in the conversation. If you're the Jets, you're just desperate year after year. We're talking about the team that drafted Mark Sanchez high, right? And then, well, this is for all of the just tear it down and start over. Go get a high pick and draft a quarterback. They did that. They took Sanchez. They took Sam Darnold. They took Zach Wilson, and they still can't figure it out. They went and traded for Brett Favre. Brett Favre won 3 MVPs in Green Bay. And after his 1-year pit stop in New York, he got MVP votes when he was with Minnesota. But when he was with the Jets, because that's what the Jets are. I don't know if the Jets are going to be any good, but it's going to be fascinating to watch. Ed Daniels when we come back. This is Hannytime, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hannytime.
Big Mike's in Denham Springs. You know, with hot ball crawfish every day, you got a great place to start your day. At 11 o'clock every day, the hot ball crawfish start coming out. We're at that point in the season where you got good size, you got good seasoning. Big Mike's has got your crawfish. On Monday nights, they got all-you-can-eat boiled shrimp. And if you want off-site catering, Big Mike's can handle that for you. You want to have your private get-togethers at Big Mike's, there's multiple size party rooms available to you. Happy hour drink prices from 3 to 7 Monday through Friday. Get on and watch all the action, the NBA playoffs, college baseball, NASCAR on the weekends. Happy hour starts at 11 o'clock on Sundays, and it's all day long. Live music every weekend at Big Mike's. The Denham Springs Institution on Aspen Boulevard at Big Mike's. Kind of a big deal.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5
Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have
the business with Luber for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO
Bank
of
and
Walmart.
Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging year.
Hey, so join me for Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Glenn West talking Tigers. They get ready for Nicholls State. And Sharif Ishak on the Saints draft. Hunt Palmer Show, 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and the Baton Rouge Clinic bring you the Dreams Come True Radiothon. Dreams Come True is an organization designed to help grant dreams for children with life-threatening illnesses and their families. The Dreams Come True Radiothon is presented today by the Baton Rouge Men's Clinic. Remember, every $5 donated into our raffle gives you an entry and a chance to win an Aaron and Austin Nola autographed bat, ball, and picture, or a Justin Jefferson autographed LSU helmet, and a Justin and Jamar Chase framed wall print. Donate today at 1045ESPN.com.
This is Hannytime with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We take a break from our regularly scheduled Aaron Rodgers programming to bring you what the Saints might do, and to help us out with that, we bring in longtime sports director at WGNO in New Orleans, our friend Ed Daniels. Ed, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing great. You make me laugh with this whole Aaron Rodgers thing. I'm so tired of hearing about it.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I promise not to ask you any questions about Aaron Rodgers.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Can I tell you one? Can I tell you one quick Aaron Rodgers story?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
About 3-4 years ago, I was talking with a reporter who covered Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what's the deal with this dude? There always seems to be something going on. And the reporter was great. Told me that, hey, this is who he is, and there'll always be drama. So every time something goes on with him, one way or the other, I use that as a backdrop. Okay. And it fits to a T every time. So not surprised.
No, tell me this: if Breeze had been in Green Bay all those years and Rodgers had been in New Orleans all those years, you'd had to cover the drama because it's your job. Would you have sent somebody to the retreat? We dispatched somebody on your staff up to Oregon to cover the darkness, I guess.
Oh no, I'd let him go in darkness. I gotta tell you though, Charlie, I think that if Sean Payton had come back, okay, if Sean Payton had come back for another year and not walked away, I think there was a really good chance that Aaron Rodgers was going to be a Saint. Because I think the Saints would have done everything they could to trade for him. Because I know,
and I think they might have been. Tom Brady might have been a Saint too.
Yeah, I mean, look, there was a lot of interest from both of those guys. Okay, and if Peyton had stayed, he wasn't going to get in a situation like a lot of these teams are this week, speculating on a quarterback and maybe trading up and mortgaging your future for a guy that you don't know about. And that's what's going to happen to somebody on Thursday night. All right. I don't know what's going to happen. Houston, of course, at 2 holds all the cards as to what they're going to do, whether they're going to take a quarterback or not. And I still think they are. But somebody is going to mortgage their whole franchise like the Rams did when they went and got Jared Goff. And, it might work. It may not. And if it doesn't work, then a lot of people are going to lose their jobs.
Yeah. Well, the Jets did this 2 years ago. They put an awful lot of they invested an awful lot in Zach Wilson, and here 24 months later they're looking for a quarterback. It's tough, Ed, to put together a great bullpen of picks that might be available at 29 because it's so far down in the draft. And the Saints are as tight-lipped as any organization in football when it comes to the draft, and that's saying a lot. But with what you know and what you think about where this team is picking and what their needs are and who might be on the board, Just give me some names that you think are, strong possibilities with the first
Well,
pick.
the defensive lineman from Georgia Tech is one of those guys, and there's another guy. I see a lot of people with the defensive lineman from Clemson. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. No, he does fit the size profile. Okay, there's no question about that. But I still think there's a real good chance the Saints trade up, because none of those guys super excite me. Do they excite you?
Breesy has got some upside. Miles Murphy is the better player of the two, and he's just starting to fall on some of these boards. The other defensive lineman from Clemson.
Yeah, right.
Am I over the moon? No, but I don't know that there's anybody I'm going to be over the moon about at 29 anyway. It's just kind of fill a need. Trading up scares me, but it's something that the Saints are likely to do because, well, they need cheap players, guys that can play.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
They're good at finding them later in the draft. They do a very good job of that. But if you think they're going to trade up, who do you think that they would be trading up for? Got somebody named Crosshairs?
I think if they do go up, they're going to go up for a lineman, whoever they've identified, and I'm not really sure who that person is. But I do think that they're going to go up. If they do go up, it's going to be for a big guy. I don't see them drafting. I heard some guy speculating about B.J. Ojulari. Look, I think B.J. Ojulari is a good player, and he said he was up to 252 pounds. So, but I don't see them taking an undersized defensive end. I just don't.
I don't know. I don't think Ojulari would be in their plans for the first pick. Now, if you told me that they were going to take a look at Ojulari at 40, I would tell you that would make possibly some sense. There is also some thought that if one of the tight ends gets to them, and I don't know that that's very likely that either Kincaid or Mayer will get to him. But Darnell Washington from Georgia is an awfully intriguing prospect, and so is Luke Musgrove from Oregon State. Both of those would fill a need and about fit really either one of those picks, 29 or 40, that one of those guys would be available.
I think that's an excellent observation. I like Mayer a lot. I think he's a really good player. I haven't seen the guy. I know the guy from Georgia plays for Georgia, and he's on TV a lot, but I don't remember him doing a ton of things. I think he's pretty good. I think the guy at Notre Dame is really good. Okay. But I think a guy they really like, Charlie, is Jahmyr Gibbs.
Gibbs is interesting because there's a lot of people that think he's going to go right about where the Saints are picking the Alabama running back right there near the end of the first round. And Ed, I still think even with Jamal Williams coming in at running back is a need. I think that Alvin Kamara, even after the suspension, is nearing the end of his time with the Saints, and they need an upgrade at that position. I don't know if the first round is where I want to do it. You brought up trading up. Let's say Bijan Robinson makes it into the teens, the late teens, where he's within striking distance for New Orleans. Then possibly.
Yes, I know they love Bijan Robinson. There's a lot of comparisons between him and Saquon Barkley. All right. And I know they love Bijan Robinson. I know they like Jahmyr Gibbs a lot. They like Tyjae Spears a lot, but he's a third round guy,
Yeah.
But look, what happens if Kamara is suspended and Jamal Williams is hurt?
It's running back off the street.
Right. I mean, you're handing the ball to Eno Benjamin. Okay.
Yeah.
And nothing against Eno Benjamin, but at the end of last year, Charlie, I had to do my research on Eno Benjamin. All right. Because I was like, who is this guy? What is he all about? And I just don't think that they can be in that kind of situation this year on offense. And they've got to do some things for that quarterback. I mean, they've got to have some weapons for the quarterback. And as far as I'm concerned, over the last 10, 15 years of watching opposing backs come through Tiger Stadium, and as you know, I go to just about every LSU game in Baton Rouge, and the last 10 or 15 years of watching it, I think Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the best guys I've seen. And I think he is a really tremendously talented player who can do it all, and who can catch the football and can get to the corner. And I just think a guy like that would be incredibly valuable to a guy like Derek Carr, and they've got to do something to get better players. And I get the whole defensive line thing, but maybe that's something you can fill in the second round. Maybe it is. I mean, David Onyemata was what, a 4th round pick?
He was.
He turned out to be a really good player. The thing about the defensive line is, though, if you look at it, I think those guys, I think that's one spot in football, Charlie, where it takes a lot of time to become a player of some stature. I think it's a hard position for a rookie because most of the time you're playing offensive linemen who are very cagey and very smart, who have been in the league a long time, and they know how to neutralize you. And you've got to learn how to play that position. So, the thing about a running back is if they got Bijan Robinson right there, it would be an incredible draft because the thing about it is they have a dynamic player that people have to game plan for. And they don't really have that guy on offense right now. Kamara maybe, right?
Yeah. He doesn't get to – I can't see any way he gets to 29, Ed, but I can see if Atlanta passes on him at 8, which I think is as high as he can go, and Philadelphia decides to do what Philadelphia usually does, which is, draft somebody up front, then I can see him sliding into teens, and I could see a team like Detroit being willing to trade with you. I could see a team like Seattle being willing to trade with you at 18 or 20, because if he gets to 21 and he gets to the Chargers, there's a really good chance the Chargers don't let him get any further than that because Austin Eckler wants out, and I don't know that they're going to move him on draft night, but I don't think I think you got to get in front of the Chargers if you want to have a shot there, and that's if he slides. Atlanta could take him at 8 and throw that whole thing into a tizzy. You brought up it's the LSU guys and then the defensive linemen. Try this one on for size because the Saints got criticized for never having LSU guys forever.
Right.
I'll give you the one I think fits the best. If the Saints were to take Jaquilin Roy with the 8th pick of the 3rd round, that would not only would that fill a need, but that's about where he is supposed to go. That to me would be a very nice fit. I thought he had a really good year last year, especially for the amount of snaps that he was required to play. I thought his production was good. I thought his durability was really good. And, he wouldn't have to step in and play 80% of the snaps right off the bat. If you're looking for a Saint, an LSU Tiger to go with the Saints, Roy in the 3rd round in New Orleans makes a lot of sense to me.
Well, I think that's a really good observation because, look, if he can come in and give you, 20, 30 snaps a game, that's the kind of guy you're looking for. All right. And he's a good value too. I still think the guy has upside. I think he can improve. So I think that's a really good spot for a guy like that. But I just look at the Saints, what they've done over the years, Charlie. Draft big people early, trade up.
Yeah.
I mean, and look, and they got barbecued for what they did last year. But in my opinion, Trevor Penning is going to be a very good player in the NFL. And a lot of people are sleeping on him right now because he got hurt twice in his rookie year. But in my opinion, Trevor Penning is going to be a very good player. It's just like you go back to 2017. It's the off season. It's early March. I'm out of town for a few days visiting relatives, and a friend of mine calls me and says, "Oh my God, we just gave Brandon Cooks away for the 32nd pick in the 1st round." Well, that pick turned out to be Ryan Ramczyk. How does that trade look right now?
It looks pretty good. Cooks has been traded 9 times
exactly,
since then.
Exactly. And look, the Saints got rid of a guy who clearly had some attitude issues, and Sean Payton wasn't going to deal with that. But I just go back to what Jeff Ireland, said at the Senior Bowl, and I read the quotes last night because I knew I was coming on your show today. And I read the quote from Jeff Ireland on February 3rd or whatever it is. Trust your process. Trust your scouts. If you see a guy that you love, you have to go up and get him. Now, who that person is, I don't know. But I just have a hard time, thinking that the Saints are going to sit still there and wait till the draft comes to them. I think they've identified a couple of guys, maybe 3 to 4 guys, and they've got that little chart, and they know what it takes to go up to get to a certain spot, and that's what they're going to do. And if they sit still and pick a 29, I'll be a very surprised person.
Ed, we always appreciate the time. I'm going to ask you to do one more thing for me. Would you take a copy of last night's Bucks-Heat game and deliver it to Zion Williamson and tell him that Jimmy Butler didn't feel exactly perfect in pregame, but he went out and played last night and played pretty well?
Well, you know, Charlie, let me tell you what. There's a lot of guys in the NBA who are like that, though. And I had somebody in the NBA tell me that last week about certain players who will not play unless they're 100%. But that's the league we have. The players run the league. And a guy like a Jimmy Butler, you know, over the years, he just shows up. You know, I'll give you a stat. You ready?
Yeah.
Michael Jordan in 15 years played in 82 games 9 times. His last year in the NBA, when he was 40 years old, in 2002, I believe, he played 82 games, started 67. You know, if you would have told Michael Jordan load management, he would have laughed in your face.
Yeah, and, you know, that was when the game that's a long time ago, Ed. You know, that was 20 years ago. I accept that the game is different now, and there's different procedures and all that stuff. Jimmy Butler was on the injury report last night. We all knew he was going to play. Did that guy look like he was – is that guy easy to root for? Do you just look at him and go, man, I'm getting everything Jimmy Butler's got every time he's on the floor? Is that so much to ask?
Yeah, and I've heard over the years, hey, he's high maintenance and this, that, and the other, you know, but I guarantee you, hey, all those guys on that Miami team, they show up and play.
They do.
All right? And you know what? But that's the kind of guys that Pat Riley brings into the organization, along with Spoelstra. You know, to me, as an organization, every year they achieve. And they didn't have a great season. They only won 44 games this year. They didn't have a great season, Charlie. But you know what? When it's crunch time, as a group, as a team, they rally and get it done. And I like the Miami Heat because I just think that as an organization and the way they play the game the right way.
Ed, we always appreciate the time. We look forward to the draft on Thursday night and hope to have you back soon. We'll talk about what the Saints actually end up doing.
Okay, buddy.
Thanks a lot. Ed Daniels from WGNO. We'll take a break. Dwayne Colucci, the South Point and the Rampart out in Vegas with us when we come back. Hannytime, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hannytime.
Infinity of Baton Rouge. You know, we bought another vehicle from Infinity just a couple of months ago. You know, when you go in from the very beginning, if you're getting into the pre-owned, the certified pre-owned program, you know that it comes with the benefits of having a year's worth of prepaid maintenance, a courtesy car when your car is in to be serviced, and roadside assistance included. But also, you know that it's been through a rigorous inspection. They're so confident in those inspections that they're going to back it with a 100,000-mile warranty. So after you know you have those assurances, then you can get into, I'm looking for something with this many miles on it for this price, this make and model, and then you've got a huge inventory to choose from. In short, it's just a very relaxed, a very comfortable buying experience, and it's why we continue to go back time and time again. Right now, Infinity Baton Rouge offering you cash for your vehicle. You can get a quote in less than 15 minutes. There is no pressure to sell or pressure to trade in, but you can get that quote in less than 15 minutes. On Airline Highway, Acura, Infinity of Baton Rouge.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring. Wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville or NOLAFlooring.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit Dreams Come True, the local organization that grants dreams to Louisiana kids suffering life-threatening illnesses and their families. We've interviewed these incredible kids, and their stories warm our hearts. And none of it would be possible without your help. So we're asking for your support in our effort to making more dreams come true. Each year, our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today, and thank you.
Bayou Ford has $2,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% APR for 84 months on new 22 Ford Expeditions. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong. Gulf Coast.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR. LSU and Nichols at the box. We're previewing the game. We'll continue our SEC spring recaps, counting you down to the NFL draft. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hannytime with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we head out to Las Vegas, to South Point, and the Rampart, and our friend Dwayne Colucci here in NFL Draft Week. Colucci, how you doing, man?
Doing good, Charlie. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Okay, is this the week that the odds makers get nervous out in Vegas because this NFL draft thing has got some advantages for the players? What's this week like? I know it ain't Super Bowl week or NCAA tournament week. What's this week like trying to get the odds right on the draft?
Well, it's definitely difficult, and I know Chris and the guys are formulating and putting up some propositions. We do have to shut them down 24 hours prior to the start of the draft, Charlie. So that definitely plays somewhat into our advantage just a bit because you really get a lot of late buzz and a lot of feel for it real late in the game. You start to hear breaking news right before the draft picks are going to be announced and all that. So it definitely helps us out a little. But you have a plethora of quarterbacks. You have a lot of teams that are looking for quarterbacks. Yesterday, Aaron Rodgers, now a Jet, they finally get their franchise quarterback, and that definitely is an odds adjustment there on both sides, whether you're looking at the Packers in the futures market or the Jets, and also the landscape of those divisions, mainly the affecting of the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings, who are the front runners now in that division. And, Detroit also had a bunch of suspensions. So we've had a good ripe futures market at the Rampart and South Point, and the draft just adds to it. And you want to start putting up some propositions and some player over-unders on when they'll be drafted. So that becomes more and more difficult, and Chris does a fabulous job over at the Point, figuring that out. And we have the same betting menu at the Rampart. So it's just it's a really, really good time and a fun time of the year. And you combine that with all the playoff action going on, it's definitely been a right market.
Is the tough part and I know this is an NBA draft comparison, but is the tough part when something happens like with Paolo Banchero last year, where his odds literally in the last 30 minutes before the draft went from somewhere around minus 120 to minus 5,000 because something leaked that everybody believed?
Yeah, definitely. But like I said, with the NFL and the Nevada Gaming Board rules, we do shut it down 24 hours prior. And all that buzz, like you said, was created within the last few hours prior to the draft. Like I said, that information starts to leak out. And that's what we're protected against here in Las Vegas. I know other markets around the country, they leave that betting open, and you could start sustaining a huge liability if you're running a book in different parts of the country. So we have to be very concise and be very careful, watch the limits that we allow also the sharper wagers to bet, just because it's not a familiar market. We haven't been putting up lines on drafts in excess of 20 years like the other sports, Charlie. So it's definitely different. It's a different feel. NFL is always king, but not really on this, not right at this time of the year. We're definitely having more handle, NBA, NHL, etc. And we need to focus on the playoffs and not lose focus on that as well and get so enamored with the NFL draft.
You grew up in New York. You friends with a lot of Jets fans? I know that ain't your team, but were you friends with a lot of Jets fans? I mean, they're throwing a party today.
Yeah, definitely, I tell you. And they've been starving for winning, Charlie. That's definitely a huge, huge acquisition. And they're very well coached with Saleh there. They made the right decision making him the head coach. And now you don't have to deal with, the Wilson and Mike White parity. It's going to be Aaron Rodgers' team. These guys will just be backups. If they remain with the team, they have to learn their place because this is a new sheriff in town. And it's going to be interesting to see because the Jets were very competitive last year. People were shocked early in the season. They were knocking teams off, covering a lot of games. They have a very good roster that they could, put around Rodgers. They just need a few more offensive weapons, in my opinion, and they have to avoid the injury bug. They got banged up last year, and that definitely compromised their chances. But they're in a division where you have a lot of question marks at quarterback, whether it's Tua and his health, moving forward with Mac Jones. It's going to be a very competitive AFC East this year. We know Buffalo is the top team there, but the Jets could easily slide into a number two position if these other teams falter and have quarterback problems.
All right, let's move to the NBA. We got 3 closeout situations tonight. Celtics, Nuggets, and Suns can all move on, all double-digit spreads. The Hawks are without DeJounte Murray. He is suspended for this game. The Clippers are without Kawhi Leonard because he doesn't feel like playing. So we got some big numbers here tonight and some closeout situations here. Anything grab your attention with some value here tonight?
Oh, we're getting plied with Celtic money. We opened it at 11. It's at 13.5. I mean, Murray is an important player, but these guys, they just can't control themselves, and it's getting a little disappointing. You either have situations with Murray and Draymond Green, or like you touched upon, I just don't want to play anymore. These guys are just in control a bit too much, in my opinion. And, I would probably, at this oversaturated market, take the Hawks on a flyer with 13.5. But the Celtics look awesome. I mean, they're just running the table in the Eastern Conference right now. But there's a lot of playoff basketball to be played. Denver, Minnesota avoided the sweep. We opened that game at 9 at the Rampart and South Point. That's up to 10. Naturally, we're getting all favorite action. Open Phoenix at the Rampart and South Point at 12, up to 12.5. So everybody's parlaying the 3 favorites, the 3 closeouts. I definitely think these spreads are very inflated. Maybe the Clippers can hang. You could see the Suns easily winning by 8 to 10. But then, if they can't get out of their own way, they could win by 20 or 30. So, in this position, when you start to see the favorites getting plied with money, Charlie, I look at the underdogs and see which the most appealing. Probably to me, the Hawks with the 13.5.
Is there better places to go tomorrow night? We've got 3 more series that could close out tomorrow night. The Knicks and Cavs, Lakers and Grizzlies, and the Heat and the Bucks. Not that, but the Heat are a double-digit underdog on the road, even though they can close out Milwaukee. Is there a better spot tomorrow night on one of these closeouts?
I tell you the truth, it's going to be tough. I mean, I think Milwaukee will definitely win that game. They really have to step it up and find themselves. Lakers are playing well. They're able to sustain Ja Morant and his flashy play. They're getting good all-around play. I think they're very hungry. I think James has a chip on his shoulder because he's getting, to the point where how many more seasons could you play? You hear rumors he wants to play with his son, and do the Ken Griffey thing. But That's sometimes, when your body has limitations, it becomes very difficult. So this may be LeBron's last chance. I'm looking for them to beat Memphis. That's why you're seeing only a 4-point spread, but we opened it at 3.5. So they're still betting favorites there. Golden State, now you have the De'Aaron Fox situation. That's huge. That definitely takes away from Sacramento. Golden State is actually a favorite on the road with their terrible road record this year. They're 4 points at the Rampart and South Point, not moving. We opened that game at 4. And my Knicks are playing fabulous, I'll be honest. Tibbs is coaching very well. He knows what players to have on the floor in what situation. Brunson is just amazing. There's a lot of pressure on the Cavaliers. The Knicks took it to them with Randall on the bench in the fourth quarter. RJ is starting to get warmed up. I like the Knicks' chances again with the 5.5 points. I definitely think they'll cover that spread.
Hey, riddle me this on the Lakers and Grizzlies tomorrow night. I'm remembering a game last year when the Warriors went to Memphis up in the series, and Memphis beat them by something like 40. And the Warriors were on the bench laughing. Draymond was laughing. They were inciting the crowd. They were so relaxed because they knew they were going to go back to California and win Game 6, which they did. I could see the Lakers in an exhale spot tomorrow night going, you know what? We're going to win this thing in 6 when we go back to L.A. We're not going to crush ourselves, call it load management or whatever. We'll let the Grizzlies have this one because we're getting Game 6. Are they as comfortable in their skin as the Warriors were last year?
I don't know about that. I think that's a difference of opinion. That's where you have all players on the same page, whereas I think Davis is thinking like you're thinking, let's not risk the load management. Let me get back to L.A., whereas James has the killer instinct. You have to have some sort of a Michael Jordan mentality in your career if you want to be the best ever, where let's put this team away. I mean, Ja Morant is capable of anything. He's getting more and more healthy, and you're seeing how his flashy play at times could dominate. So why would you risk it? But on the other hand, like you said, you have to consider the age of the Los Angeles Lakers roster. You're hoping guys like Reeves definitely doesn't fall into that, and Schroeder and the other role players, because you want to see Russell excel, I should say, and definitely go above and beyond, and possibly have some of these younger guys carry the team in this game. But, it works both ways, Charlie. That's tough to handicap with the mentality that you have, because Golden State plays as a unit. Yeah, naturally they were laughing. And I think Golden State has the greatest home court advantage in the NBA, so that's why they were just kicking back.
All right, we got a minute, we got a couple minutes left here. We got 3 games on the ice tonight. Hurricanes with a chance to close out the Islanders, but man, the Kings and the Oilers, man, look, I have become more of a hockey fan. That series has been fun to watch. They're at 2-2. They're back in Edmonton tonight. Anything you like on the ice tonight?
You got to take the plus there, right, Charlie?
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. These teams are so close. Don't get enamored with the regular season performance of the Edmonton Oilers. And I said they peaked very early. They had that 10-game winning streak to get into the playoffs and try to push the first place overall, but the Golden Knights outfinished them. So now, you see McDavid is not as flashy. Draisaitl is playing off the hook, though. And the goaltending by Korpisalo for the Kings has been amazing. I think the Kings have an excellent chance here. Minus 220 Edmonton at the Rampart and South Point. I'll definitely take the plus in that matchup. The Islanders totally disappointed me. And you're seeing undisciplined hockey. In Game 4, you come right out, 2-man advantage, and you're done. So this is very difficult to gauge. Sorokin isn't playing nearly as well as he did in the regular season, and Carolina is a well-rounded team. Even though they have a lot of injuries, they're still able to put points on the board and goals in the net, I should say. Aho is fabulous. That's a tough game. As much as I want to take the Islanders, I'll lay off that game. Dallas and Minnesota, I told you guys prior to this series, they're going to destroy each other, and they're going to limp out of this series. It's just such a tight checking and tight-knit series. You have great goaltending on both sides. Gustafsson has really played well for Minnesota. Jake Ottinger on the Dallas side. They have superstar power. Kaprizov for Minnesota has really been all over the ice. I'll take a chance with Minnesota here, even though Dallas, a phenomenal home team. I think this is another really, really tight game. That's why Dallas is only, Charlie, minus 140 at the Rampart and South Point. Total is 5.5 under his shaded 125. Just to reiterate, the goaltending matchup has been that fabulous where you could see a 3-2 final easily, or the game going into overtime at 2-2, 3-2 final.
Kaluch, we love you, baby. Have a good draft night. We're looking forward to it on Thursday, and we'll check in with you on Jimmy's show.
Thank you so much, Charlie, and have a great one. And say hi to everybody out in Baton Rouge for me.
Dwayne Kaluch at the South Point and the Rampart. We're back to wrap it up here. Handytime, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hannytime, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCoRoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
This is Hannytime with Charles Hannegriff on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Never thought I'd get so much interest in what I'm wearing for Island Hanny for the draft. I feel like this must be how Kim Mulkey feels like, right? Favorite Buffett song and album. Tin Cup Chalice is my favorite song. The album Meet Me in Margaritaville's got a nice mix of the live and the classics. We will definitely be there for the draft party on Thursday night. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $15,000 off all new 2022 1500 SCA trucks. And all new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit Dreams Come True, the local organization that grants dreams to Louisiana kids suffering life-threatening illnesses and their families. We've interviewed these incredible kids, and their stories warm our hearts. And none of it would be possible without your help. So we're asking for your support in our effort to making more dreams come true. Each year, our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today, and thank you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years.